Hello and welcome. Episode 12, not 17. That's confusing. Lost my elbow. Yeah, welcome to Three Losers in a Church, episode 12. I'm excited. We started this Bible passage, Bible story adventure last week with me. I always wear the same shirt on Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week. I remember that shirt.
Yeah, that was, yep.
Yeah.
Don't know why I said last week. We recorded that episode minutes ago. But
don't tell them that.
I gave away our secret.
That's a secret.
But yeah, thank you guys for coming out tonight and watching episode 2 of our 3-part Bible story. I'm not going to use numbers on my hands anymore. Our 3-part Bible story adventure. Yeah. So Chris Hort is going to share tonight. I'm really excited. Yeah. Take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Tyler. I was thinking a few episodes ago we were talking about like anthropomorphizing pieces of candy, you know. So I was like, I think that's the direction our podcast should go. But I couldn't find any scripture to back it up. So
I have to admit that one took me a second to put the pieces together. I was like, what are you talking about? Chris is referring to when we talked about M&M's being our what's our spirit M&M?
Yes.
Yeah,
something like that. That was a weird episode. So I chose to read from one of my favorite books, which is an unpopular opinion from the Book of Revelation. A lot of people avoid it for one reason or another. Probably because a lot of conspiracy nuts abuse it, and then the ones who aren't abusing it don't understand it, myself included. But this passage, I think, is not too crazy considering all the other chapters in Revelation. So it's chapter 21, just verses 1 through 8. Subtitled The New Heaven and the New Earth in the ESV. And it reads, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away.' And he who was seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.' Also he said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.' And he said to me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give from the spring of water of life without payment. The one who conquers will have this heritage, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. But as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death.'" So kind of like your passage ends on a very bitter note. Or they're actually more along the Titus one that you read, but there's just this like
suspense.
Yeah. But I think I kind of learned something about myself this week when we were talking about my hub teaching on Sunday, and you were like, "Yeah, you're kind of a big picture kind of guy." And all week I've been thinking about like, I don't know if that's true. Like maybe that's how true is that really? And then like I realized the two scriptures I was choosing between were literally the first verse of the Bible and like this one, which is the second to last verse of the Bible or chapter of the Bible. So that's about as big picture as you can get, I think.
I did not know that. Like, it was between the first passage, like Genesis, and then
yeah, because like my other favorite Bible passage is the creation story, like for various reasons.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I'm a very big picture person,
and I chose a story and a metaphor.
Right. So it's pretty telling, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this for multiple reasons. I mean, the message of it overall, like that line, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes and death shall be no more," is like my favorite line out of the whole Bible. Because like, I can't fathom that. Like, I mean, I understand what it's saying and like I can think about it and kind of conceptualize it, but I can't imagine like literally sadness not existing anymore, you know? Sorry, that car going by just made me lose my train of thought. That was really loud.
It was.
Yeah, it's like, it's not just like he'll comfort us when we're sad. It's like there will literally be no sadness
Mhm.
from which to be comforted. And death shall be no more. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's a pretty sure thing. We're all gonna die.
And taxes.
And taxes. I was gonna say that. I didn't know I should.
No.
Taxes. I was talking about taxes earlier today.
It's my favorite topic.
Yeah, taxes. I love taxes.
Just,
I don't.
can't stop myself from digressing farther.
But yeah, the other thing I really like is like, it's not just like a better life, a better Jerusalem, better situation. Like, it's all brand new.
Right.
And I guess I've been on this new life kick lately. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I guess I do, but like, that was our last podcast episode before the Bible stories. That's what my hub teachings have been about. I think somehow my college thing is going to wind up being about that. Not even by my own doing. Just like, that's how it's working out. So I guess I've been thinking a lot about newness lately. And it even says, like, behold, I'm making all things new, which makes me think of like the song Beautiful Things, which is a personal favorite. But it's like, because God created the earth, and there's like this way of nature, this way of things that were supposed to happen, and almost immediately, like, that didn't work out. And so, like, Christ came, fast forward, and he made things new, like the old way of doing things. He fulfilled the law. I'm not saying like that's all obsolete now, but like Jesus fulfilled the law. There's this new covenant now, and now there's like this even newer thing that we haven't even gotten to see yet, which is just so cool. Like, we're in the new covenant, New Testament right now, and then like there's going to be an even newer thing where God literally like dwells among us. Like, he is the light in the new city, and like the rest of the chapter talks even more in depth about that and gives all this like probably analogy, or maybe it's literal, I don't know, but I feel like a lot of Revelation's hard to figure out.
For sure.
But like, when we were at Hume last year, the summer camp, it was talking a lot about the light, and how like the light can't dwell with the darkness because it would just like kill the darkness. Like, we can't even be anywhere near God's presence because like that kind of perfect light wouldn't be able to exist in the darkness. They're just not compatible. And like, this is like, God is literally the light, and he's dwelling among us, like in the beginning, where God's just walking through the Garden of Eden,
chilling.
just chilling with Adam and Eve and a snake, apparently. But this doesn't even talk about a snake, so maybe there's no snakes in New Earth. I don't know.
I don't like snakes, so I hope so.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not a fan of snakes.
Dude, they like shed their skin. That's weird, bro.
It's true. So do I sometimes. If I get sunburned.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I did
I
not
just-
expect that.
I did have to admit, I did imagine Chris just like popping out of
Yep.
his entire skin. That was a very scarring thought.
Leaves it around his house.
I went to a birthday party once, and this animal person came, and I had a boa constrictor around my neck.
But it didn't shed skin while it was around your neck, did it?
No,
Okay.
it didn't kill me either.
Clearly.
Clearly.
To that point, and I always have loved the Alpha and Omega. I guess it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Descriptor.
Descriptor. I don't know.
Descriptor. Yeah. I mean,
Whatever
it is a metaphor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's the way I think.
Mm.
But like the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you were talking about your two, I thought it was very funny, the two Bible passages you were balancing between was, like, let there be light, and then, like, the recreation of Earth. And I was like, oh, that's so Alpha and Omega. That's
that really
so
is.
the
Yeah.
beginning and the end. And it was very funny. I was just like, oh, wow. Like, you're definitely a big, I was just like, I was laughing to myself.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right.
But yeah, I don't know. And the whole line, and he said to me, like, it is finished.
Mm.
In this translation, it says, it is done.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if that's the same word.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned.
I have my doubts, but
Yeah.
it's probably not the same, it is finished. The line said on the cross.
Oh, where he's
but-
on the cross.
Yeah. But like, it's still like, it's done. The transaction is complete.
Yeah.
He's still the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm. And this is like the new beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
after the end.
The Bible's very big on completions, like completing the prophecies, completing your journey, completing all those things.
Mhm.
And I think talking about like the alpha, the omega, like I agree. The bookends. This is it, right?
Mhm.
Like onwards we go, but right now we're just existing in the expanse of time between those two bookends. And we don't really have a grasp of the concept of time.
Right.
But
It's just like we're in the process of all the garbage happening in the middle.
mm,
I was actually thinking about the very first episode where we were talking about like why we believe in God,
Mhm.
and you were mentioning how like we always wake up with this feeling of like something's not right, you know, and like this is kind of relevant because it's like we never really got to see the way things were supposed to be before it got
Yeah.
screwed up, you know, and so like this is just like we finally get to do it.
mm.
I'm pointing this way because there's a computer I'm reading off of. I'm not just like
Tyler.
freaking out. I know there's cameras over here.
Where's the camera?
And I'm gesturing wildly because I'm awkward. But also the end part though, the
Yeah.
verse 8 too, it's like God's still God
Mm.
and has to uphold his own standards as well, you know. Like just totally goes hard on the cowardly, the faithless, detestable, etc. Just like that's not acceptable. That's not part of what's going to be acceptable in the presence of God.
It's so funny to talk about new life because well, our last retreat icon was in reference to not necessarily the going to a new life, but returning to what was supposed to be. I think
I
right.
didn't even think of that. That I was there. I was literally the sermon illustration.
Oh yeah, you were a sermon illustration. You were the sermon illustration. But I think that's why it's so beautiful. Like especially when it comes to like new earth, like new heaven, new earth, new to us, but the origin of what it was supposed to be. Like God intended it for it to be good. God intended it for it to be a paradise. Yet our sin, our brokenness was what ruined it. And now in that broken world, our hearts know that we don't belong here. And we want to return to what was intended and what was meant to be.
Yeah. And they even uses the wedding analogy again,
Yeah.
like the bride adorned for a groom. And that's been on my mind a lot lately because the next 2 weekends I'm going to weddings.
Oh yeah.
2 weekends?
Yeah.
You have a second wedding?
Yeah, next weekend's my sister's, and then the weekend after is my friend Zachariah's.
The Idaho wedding.
Yeah.
Dang. Congratulations to both.
Right? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neither of them listen to this, but
It's okay. It's the thought that counts.
Shannon said she would, but she didn't.
I just think going back to my passage because I'm so self-absorbed. But
I thought you were humble to a fault.
humble to a fault.
There we
Mm.
go.
Chris, I just
You're
care
humbly
so much about
self-absorbed.
your passage that I need to relate it back to mine.
Which was better.
Which I was better on every way, shape, or form. No, that's a joke. I was kidding. But
I
like
see.
the first word that stuck out to me, right? It's detestable.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the same word.
same word. Yeah.
Which is interesting because these are two different translations.
Oh, yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah, which is there's no whole thing there, but like it's in the list, right?
Mm.
The cowardly, right? Like we wouldn't think the cowardly were like deserve,
Right.
it to live in the lake that burns with sulfur, right?
Mm.
Fire and sulfur.
Right.
Like we like timid people. We're not like go burn. Like, there's no correlation there, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. So that like word detestable like popped out at me. I was like, oh, interesting. Like, but that's like all of those things are like us.
Yeah.
Every person is all of those things.
Right. Faithless murderers.
Right.
Yeah, sexual.
Well, maybe not sorcerers. I don't know. But
Maybe to some extent. I don't know.
Oh.
You ever talk about karma?
interesting. Valid. I see. There's a way of denying right there.
Right.
Didn't even.
Your own actions are
Boom.
what determines the outcome of your life.
Something like that. There's a customer I had who thought she was a psychic who could tell me all about it. Yeah, she said you need to manifest your ideas.
Maybe she's a sorcerer.
She's definitely into seances. So, yeah.
I don't even know how to respond to that. But yeah, so like, even in this passage, right? which seems so like end of days. Like it is the beginning of new
Yeah,
earth.
it's like
and new
utopia.
heaven, right? Yet grace is still so present, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like it's not like, oh, by grace you will be saved, right? There's no like, extra line to verse 8 there,
Right.
But like,
But it's heavily implied.
it's there, right?
I'm like, yeah, this is the new heaven and new earth I'm promising. And these things are getting excluded,
Right.
But
So-
it just goes to show you the justice of God, right? Even in your passage, and like, especially the Titus one, it's like, he will stay true to his word. He is like firm, and he will stand by his own, like what he says.
Mhm.
Which I think is so important as well.
Right. Which just makes the grace all that more amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like we can all think of times where probably every single thing on that list we've done.
Right. I don't know about murder.
Oh,
You've killed animals.
I
Sorry.
like bugs. Maybe
Yeah.
we should clarify.
Yeah, I did not say that.
My neighbor's cat.
oh, jeez.
Oh,
I don't practice witchcraft. Okay, so maybe I retract that statement. The majority of things on those lists, we could probably think of times.
right.
Or like
yeah.
at least
I know what
least
you mean.
half.
there we go.
We can think of times in our lives that we have done them. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think that. Therefore, we're going to burn in fire with sulfur.
Mhm.
Hey,
Right.
Who
Well, we've all
knows?
accepted Christ.
right? Yeah. But yeah, like it's grace is so important.
Yeah.
Right? Even in this end of day passage,
Mm.
that seems so odd and so like unbiblically.
Right.
Like post Jesus, like we all think of Jesus as like the hippie, like it's okay, like
Right.
calm down, right?
Mm.
Which is not true, but like this seems so polar opposite.
Right.
Yet there's so much language and nuances, and it's the same message.
Mm.
Yeah. Even in the rest of the book of Revelation, they refer to him as like the lamb who was slain. Actually, it was one thing I was reading before we did this is like the beginning of Revelation's like the Lord, and then like a segment of Revelation is like the lion, Jesus, and then like this part is the lamb.
Mhm.
So you get like, he's the Lord of all, he's the lion with the ferocity and intensity, but then like there's the lamb who's like loving and gentle, and I thought that was interesting.
Covers your bases, the progression.
Right. I think there's a Chris Tomlin song about that. Definitely Chris Tomlin song about Lion and the Lamb. I don't know.
It's literally titled "The Lion and the Lamb," but yes.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, heard it live.
How is it go?
I don't know.
Our Lord is the Lion of Judah, etc.
I didn't listen to that stuff.
I don't know. I don't usually like Chris Tomlin. I do. I've grown to like Chris Tomlin.
This is now the Chris Tomlin podcast.
Hashtag shall Chris Tomlin sponsor us on our podcast.
Not to steal your thunder, Chris, but I don't know. Like back
No.
to that whole like lens idea, right?
Right.
Like look at passages differently.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
try to read between those lines,
Right.
which like
Yeah.
with some caution.
Mhm.
But yeah, like there's always more than what meets the eye.
Right. Because it's like what you were saying when you had a different perspective. Like I never really focused on verse 8 until tonight, like
Mm.
where he does go into the but this,
Yeah.
Usually it's like the happy part because that sounds nicer. But
Mm.
Right. Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we definitely do that.
Oh yeah.
We ignore.
Yeah.
Even in preparation for my thing, I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, right.
We'll stop there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts on Revelation, the beginning of Revelation chapter 21.
Mm.
I think if we got any more into Revelation, this would be a mess.
You go
So,
back like even one chapter, then it's just like, so what exactly happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like looked at chapter 20 to see what was
Yeah.
going on there. And I was like, oh,
There's like scrolls, people
Yeah.
eating them.
Yeah, I get so
lions
confused.
With horns
Oh,
and eyes.
I love it so much. And I never understand like 95% of it. But yeah, thanks so much for listening and on our thoughts on that, on my thoughts on that as well. Stay tuned for Sam Sue's Bible verse. He told me what it is, but I can't remember. So it's suspenseful and exciting even for me.
And it's just a verse.
Dun, dun, dun.
Our outros.
Are great. They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how many times we can say yeah.
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 I'm already uncomfortable.
Really? I can do that all day.
I just think about somebody sitting at the screen like, please shut up. Like, I'm ready for the next video and or episode. Right?
Or they already closed it by then.
Right. Yeah. And we're just losing.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Three Losers in a Church, episode 12. And we hope to see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification icon.
Ding! I forgot that last time.
I was ready to ding too.
Ah.
But yeah, thanks so much. We'll see you guys soon. We out.